Tonight, reaction to issues at the Youth Correction Centre in Whitburn. That story. And
what's worse, many of the findings today are the same as our 2014 audit.
This province's Auditor General outlines faults with the medical care plan again.
We have ambitions to do things in the AI space as well, and we have a couple of really cool ideas.
The work that he was doing was trying to solve problems that we face on a day-to-day basis at the two projects.
One local tech company teams up with oil giants Hebron and Hibernia to create a system using AI.
We're all pretty good friends because we always compete against each other and stuff. It would be cool if we could do something together. And the idea of synchro came up.
Well, skating into the province's history books as the first boys synchronized team.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. A report released today by the province's Auditor General says the medical care and dental plans are failing to manage taxpayer money appropriately. Denise Hanrahan's office says the province has been unable to recover millions of dollars in overpayments to doctors, and many of the issues highlighted today seem all too familiar. Here now's Mark Quinn reports.
There is a need for improved oversight of this program and those public funds to be sure that what we pay out every year in MCP is appropriate.
$388 million flowed through MCP last year alone. The Auditor General says the province's health insurance plans aren't managing that public money as well as they should.
Unfortunately, our findings indicate areas of serious concern with the fulfillment of that mandate.
Hanrahan says what's worse is that the problems aren't new. Many of them were detailed more than 10 years ago.
This is not the first time we've identified them, and this is not the first time we've told the department about them.
Years ago, one employee defrauded the dental health plan of more than $500,000. The individual was charged and convicted, and Hanrahan says steps were taken to fix the problem that allowed the theft to happen. But she said there's still an opportunity for fraud.
So there have been new controls put in place, but we did find that there is a gap.
The province is owed more than $2.2 million for overpayments to physicians and dentists, but only 7% of that money was recovered in the 3-year audit period. The health minister met with Hanrahan yesterday. He agreed the health plans should manage the public's money better and overhaul its 3-decade-old systems.
Fiscal responsibility is crucial. I think there's also an awful lot that needs to be done about updating our software.
Hanrahan said it's frustrating that there were tools available to fix the identified problems, but they weren't used. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, to the courts now. The first trial day for a man accused of crimes against vulnerable teens did not go ahead today. Instead, a complicated series of applications were filed by the Crown and defense, with emotions running high. Ryan Cook has the details.
Tony Humby's trial was scheduled to start 16 days ago. We still don't know when it will kick off, but we came a little closer to the answer today. Humby's lawyer Mark Grushy filed a pair of applications this morning asking the Crown to turn over more evidence. Now, this comes after Grushy says the Crown accidentally turned over something he wasn't supposed to see, something he says is potentially exculpatory evidence, and if there's more, it could be huge for his client. But Crown Prosecutor Deidre Badcock is strongly opposed, filing her own application to dismiss Grushy's 2 motions, saying they were, quote, deficient in form and substance. Badcock says there's nothing in the accidental disclosure that changes the case, and that Grushy could have made these arguments last year. Judge Rolf Pritchard will make a decision tomorrow morning. If he sides with the Crown, the trial can start right away. If he sides with the defense, Badcock warns it could derail everything. Humby is on trial after pleading not guilty to 72 charges related to 11 complainants. He's accused of sexually exploiting and abusing vulnerable youth for nearly 2 decades. Ryan Cook, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, we have an update now to a story about severe infrastructure issues at the Youth Correction Centre in Whitburn. CBC News learned about the problems from an access to information request, and now there's reaction from the province's child and youth advocate and a St. John's lawyer who's calling for change. The CBC's Abby Cole reports.
capacity problems, safety concerns, and broken infrastructure. After CBC News revealed these issues at the Youth Correction Centre in Whitburn, the province's child and youth advocate, Karen Gray, got involved. Gray wasn't available for an interview, but in a statement, her office said Gray visited the centre, spoke to youth there, and met with the Justice Department. Gray said she is pleased with how those meetings went, but for one St. John's lawyer, problems at the centre weren't new.
It's shocking to see, but it's not shocking at the same time. Although the impacts of this, the impacts of, a dilapidated building and mold and the ceiling falling in and all of those things, it just shows the people out there the lack of care that society has for them.
Kelsey Lockyer is a lawyer at Morris Moore, a firm that represents abuse victims, including at the Correction Centre.
Recently, we spoke to a young person who is so terrified of abuse, particularly sexual abuse within the facility, that he wanted to have a camera placed in his cell. So you have a youth here who is already out in a system where they have very, very little privacy, constant monitoring, that type of thing, or supposed to be constant monitoring, that type of thing. And they're willing to give up the tiny shred of privacy that they have because they think it might protect them.
Problems at the centre have been known about since the 1950s. Her firm won a lawsuit against the government in 2022 for the sexual abuse of over 70 people at Whitburn and other facilities. Lockyer says the current conditions could lead to more abuse.
Because when you're in a situation where nobody's paying attention to the ceiling tile, the sky is falling and nobody's paying attention, other people who have bad intentions are able to act on those intentions because nobody's stopping them.
Lockyer thinks a new facility could fix some of the issues.
I think a large part of the issue is remembering what the facility is for, and the predominant purpose of our criminal justice system entirely is rehabilitation. These are children who are being placed in a facility where they are having more harm done to them.
The province refused to do an interview with CBC News, but said in a statement that there have been meetings with the child and youth advocate. And while repairs to the facility are ongoing, there is no timeline and no promise of a new facility. Abby Cole, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, scientists with the Department of Fisheries and Oceans have changed the way they assess northern shrimp stocks. Instead of 6 shrimp fishing areas, there will now be a north stock and a south stock assessment region going forward. While the northern region will run from mid-Labrador north to Davis Strait, the southern region will cover the area from mid-Labrador south to the Grand Banks. Both regions are now considered to be in the healthy zone. Well, one St. John's tech company has been developing a new AI system using a big investment from the province's offshore oil industry. Now the system is ready to launch, and Colab Software unveiled it to the public today.
AI has been kind of growing in interest for the last 2-3 years in the public sphere. We had been talking internally about some bigger ideas we had that felt like they were kind of far out there, And one day I'd had this conversation with Nick at our office, and I mentioned, we have ambitions to do things in the AI space as well, and we have a couple of really cool ideas. And when we started talking about that, it was like, well, why aren't we seriously talking about doing that now? Why wait?
That is why I'm very, very happy to announce that the Hibernian Hebron projects are investing $5.6 million in a project with Colab. This will fund over 60,000 hours of AI talent development and software development skills right here in our province.
What's really exciting about this is we actually started most of this work almost 12 months ago, and today we're not just announcing sort of funding and a partnership, we've actually proven that a lot of this works. So when you think about this, in just the last 12 months, at our headquarters in St. John's, we've hired over 17 people. I think it's actually closer to 20 now. So today we announced Review AI. It's really exciting because Review AI is going to be an umbrella long-term of many AI products. The investment that's been made from the Hibernian and Hebron projects allowed us to do it way sooner. And it takes time to build this stuff, so over the last 12 months we've been building it, and now everyone's talking about it. It's a conversation every day, so it's perfectly timed that we did it back then.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to investigate the metadata of a specific component within a greater assembly.
The first thing is really what we're calling AI knowledge management, which is I put a file in Colab. Instead of starting with a blank canvas, it goes and looks for where else have we done something similar, compares the geometry, the drawings, the metadata, and then brings back those results to you so that someone on a new program or different part of the world can learn from each other.
We're often looking for the types of projects that will help advance what Hibernian Hebron are doing. You've got these very large structures and facilities in the offshore, and there's a constant need to upgrade them and modify them, and that's what these design tools do, is they help you understand what it is you're going to do, and the quicker and faster you can do that, you can solve problems and create new solutions.
Is this a new direction for Colab?
I think it's an expanded direction. We're not just trying to build cool AI tools. There's a lot of that right now. We're trying to build stuff that like a team like Hebron Project wants to use every single day because it's super valuable, and that's, I think, where we're going to get ahead.
Well, it's a sport traditionally dominated by women, but a new all-male synchronized figure skating team in Conception Bay South is challenging that stereotype and making history. The CBC's Maddie Ryan spoke with two members of the team.
These young figure skaters are part of the first team of its kind in Newfoundland and Labrador.
The guys that are in skating, we're all pretty good friends because we always compete against each other and stuff. And after a competition, we were thinking about how it would be cool if we could do something together. And the idea of synchro came up. First it was a joke, but then we were like, maybe we could actually make this happen. And everyone agreed to it.
That was last October. Fast forward to this month, and the boys on blades have competed at their home rink, the CBS Arena, for the first time, making history as the province's first all-boys synchronized skating team. They're hoping to teach people a lesson.
There is no just one gender sport. Every sport can be played by everyone, and I think that's what we need more of.
8 skaters are on the team, ranging in age from 10 to 19. Weekly practices, early mornings, and a sense of friendship make this team work. And their coaches are there every step of the way.
And then they even wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the rink so early. They're just so dedicated, and we're really proud of all 8 of them.
It was definitely predominantly female all the way up through when I was skating, but now you're starting to see more same-sex ice dance pairs and same-sex synchro teams like this one.
And the boys on blades aren't stopping now. Forming a team was the first step. Now, they need more competition.
A lot of guys like myself have competed in categories by themselves pretty much their whole career because there isn't anyone else to compete against, right? So if we have more guys, it'll be more fun, right? So that's what we want.
They want to spread their message of breaking down gender barriers in the sport even further. On Thursday, Faulkner is invited to tell his team's story on a national platform alongside Olympic athletes at a Skate Canada online panel on gender diversity. Maddie Ryan, CBC News, Conception Bay South.
Well, still with sports, the city of Corner Brook has been chosen to host the 2026 Newfoundland and Labrador Summer Games. According to the Department of Recreation, the Games are the biggest multi-sport event in the province, welcoming almost 1,600 athletes, coaches, and staff. At the event, athletes between the ages of 11 and 18 compete in various summer sports, including track and field, swimming, and soccer. The games are held every 2 years, alternating between summer and winter. The last time Corner Brook hosted the Newfoundland and Labrador Summer Games was in 2008.
Beyond the Canada Games of 1999, we have hosted the world through the World Cup Triathlon, through World Broomball, through a variety of different sport venues that have really put our front face to the world. But always remember, sport is about fitness and it's about collegiality. It's about bringing the best out in who we are.
A very different day today across a good chunk of the island. Temperatures back down below where we should be sitting this time of year. We're generally sitting under a ridge of high pressure, so areas like Labrador are seeing a beautiful day today, and parts of the west coast as well. We do have some milder air moving in, but it won't get here until we head towards the weekend for parts of the province. Flurries the story, though, for those of you in Lab West. We will see that warm up and it'll come with some showers. I'll get into all the details a little later.
Look at that one over there.
Is this good?
Yeah, a little bit more. That felt good.
Therapeutic almost. There's a wrestling ring down there. What's that about?
This is wild.
On Happy Valley Goose Bay, the Arts Centre was filled to the brim today as people came to watch presentations and performances from cultures around the world. It was part of the 5th annual event hosted by Sharing Our Cultures. Have a look.
And that's totally okay. We have a very diverse dialect all over the world.
So my presentation today was about the language and culture of Northern Ghana, which is where my family is from. And I showcased that through teaching a language lesson to all of the people that were here today.
My presentation was about Filipino festivals that shows cultural festivals and religious artworks. Yeah.
We also decided to get together with our good friend Gio and perform a dance today with components of Afrobeats and Filipino culture.
Yes.
Creatures that hunt the night to benevolent nature spirits.
We were really actually excited to showcase, the different mythical creatures of the Philippines. And as we've seen from the audience, we've heard various laughs and reactions. And yeah, we're actually pretty proud of what our culture is, and we're just so happy to be a part of it. And yeah.
Well, for some people, the best way to get through the dead of winter is to dance it out. And that's why the group Gender Journeys set up a Latin dance class for trans and gender nonconforming people to get the blood pumping. We went to a session to see what it's all about.
Today is Dominican night. Dominican Republic is the first country I went to learn how to dance. So I went to the Dominican and I learned how to do the merengue dance, which is a very happy party dance.
This is my first time actually, but I always wanted to dance. Today is actually the trans-only dance lesson that we're doing at this lovely venue for the Gender Journeys program at Memorial University.
Okay, so step one, put your feet are together.
Dance is something obviously that involves a lot of physical touch and a lot of vulnerability. Not all, but many trans and non-binary and questioning people tend to be quite nervous about their bodies, have a lot of dysphoria around things like that. So even if they would really like to join these classes, won't join them because, there's these internal barriers, right? Or sometimes external barriers where they feel that people are judging them. A class where it's only people from the community gives them an opportunity to, enjoy these lessons. But also my hope is to kind of open up opportunities for them.
Remember, it's this way, because if you do this, you might get stuck in your whatever you got. This way is good. It is very important, A, because people have to learn how to be them, right? So if you have anybody who's going through a transition, they have to learn how to be whoever they are. If you're going to transition, you have to learn how to dance as a guy. If you're going to transition, you have to learn how to dance as a girl. It's important, right? Back in the 1900s, the men had to lead and the girls had to follow. It's the 21st century and I'm not fussy. Historically in Newfoundland, what we have is a large population of girls that dance with girls, and the guys stand there with 2 beers. And they drink 2 beers, and when the 2 beers are gone, they'll go get 2 more. And as long as their hands are full, they don't have to dance with the girls.
You're among your peers. We're all going to be making fools of ourselves a little bit. So, just let that sort of be comforting, I guess, that it's okay to kind of like step out of your usual comfort zone and to make a fool of yourself sometimes.
If you look around the council table, many of us have discontinued our Twitter accounts over a year ago.
And now the city of St. John's wants to follow suit, leaving social media platform X, but it says it's not because of its controversial owner. Ashley, we talked about it last night on the show, but today the city of St. John's said that the loop is officially closed for the season.
Yeah, and
understandable.
Yeah, absolutely not surprised by that with the temperatures that we saw yesterday. Today, much cooler out there, but as we head through the next couple of days, we are eventually going to see a warm up just in time for the official arrival of spring. It officially arrives as we head through tomorrow morning at 6:31 a.m. is when spring officially arrives. This denotes when we see typically the daylight and nighttime are exactly the same. Now, we reached that a couple of days ago in our province, but overall, the sunrise tomorrow in St. John's is 7:03 a.m. and sunset 7:13. So certainly starting to see some of those longer days and really looking forward to that as well. But for now, we are sitting under a ridge of high pressure. We saw that front move through today. Temperatures just for the St. John's area, just to put this into perspective, at around 6 o'clock this morning, temperatures were 8, and then by 7 o'clock in the morning or just after that, temperatures dropped down to 3 degrees. So we've been hanging out in the single digits, minus single digits for most of the afternoon. Some pretty nice weather up across parts of Labrador and the West Coast as well with some sunshine. But overall, these were the daytime highs. One in Terra Nova, like I said, that temperature overnight actually sat around 9 degrees past midnight, but was dropping. And now we're sitting at -2. A little bit of wind chill out there as well. Feels more like -8. The warmest temperatures are from essentially the Burin Peninsula through to the southwest, and your temperatures in Port aux Basques are sitting at +3, Stephenville at +4. Those are the warm spots across the province, and temperatures are going to warm up, though. That is the good news. Seeing some fog rolling in now. This was clear about 10 minutes ago. But this will generally be the story. Temperature, like I said, around -2, seeing some light freezing drizzle. And the reason for that is those wind shifts, north-northeasterlies at about 24 kilometers per hour. Visibility down to 600 meters at the airport. So just taking a look, we can see that onshore flow with the potential really all along the northeast coast to see some of that fog as we head through tonight. And up across Labrador, nice clear skies for you, but that is going to change as we head through tonight. We are going to see our next system move in. This will be a front, and we'll bring some snow to parts of western Labrador and then head towards the Upper Lake Melville area as we head into the early morning hours. Other than that, likely just going to see some light freezing drizzle in onshore flow across the Avalon and really anywhere along the northeast coast potentially tonight. Temperatures will hover around the 0 degree mark, minus single digits through central. Same thing for the west coast. Southern areas, you'll be hovering around the 0 degree mark or even a little bit above. St. Anthony, -11 tonight, and then temperatures for the rest of the Big Land will sit in the -teens and even -20s under clear skies. As we head into tomorrow, the skies will generally clear out for the Lab West and then towards the Upper Lake Melville area. Eventually, the north coast will see some flurries in the morning. And then as far as the island goes, we'll start cloudy. Easterly flow is going to keep things likely cloudy for eastern Newfoundland right through the day. And then winds will shift a little bit more, and the south coast will see some cloud cover along with the potential for some onshore winds. The potential for some drizzle as well. Otherwise, central, west, northern peninsula, all looking at sunshine through tomorrow. A beautiful start to spring into the afternoon. Your temperatures will be quite nice, but you will see those clouds on the increase. More of a southerly flow returning, which means temperatures are going to warm up even more as we head into early Friday. Overall, daytime highs will be sitting in the minus single digit. This is not at all the right forecast, and I have no idea what happened. But central areas of the province will be sitting between 8 to 10 degrees through the day, and then up across, I don't even know why I'm showing you this. None of this is right. We'll be sitting in the likely single digits, maybe even a little bit above in some cases. I'm going to get the right forecast, and I'm going to show it to you when I come back a little later in the show.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Oh, technology and live television, what a combination. Well, in other news, the City of St. John's is officially closing its account on X, formerly known as Twitter, and that's after a report by staff that showed a drop in St. John's residents using the social media platform. St. John's Deputy Mayor Sheila O'Leary first suggested the city should leave the platform last month because of its owner, Elon Musk, and controversy surrounding the U.S. billionaire. Mayor Danny Breen announced in a council meeting last night that the city would leave the platform, but he says the decision is not linked to Musk, but to various factors, including the discourse happening on the platform.
We looked at the utilization and we looked at the overall use of X for the city, and we felt it was not the right platform for us to be using. The usage had diminished. The use of Facebook is quite high and is still providing a great tool for us to be able to reach out to the residents of the city. But we didn't feel that X was achieving that for us in the right atmosphere that it should be. So for those reasons, we've discontinued, or we're recommending to council that we discontinue using it.
We're turning now to our top story. The province's Auditor General says more oversight is needed to detect whether some healthcare professionals are committing fraud or making mistakes in their MCP claims. Denise Hanrahan has found that doctors and dentists owe government a lot of money, at least $2.2 million, and she says that amount may actually be much higher. Hanrahan says government needs to do more to collect those overpayments and make sure the billings are legit.
So the current receivables that are owed to the province is that over $2 million amount. There are many ways, and government has receivables, that they can be collected. And so we do call out in this particular case that there's been minimal collections. I think over our 3-year audit period, we note 7%, knowing that the middle year there was none collected. And so we're finding very little collected. But for me, the bigger issue is I'm not sure that receivable is an accurate indication of what is owed to the province for the amount of transactions that go through that system. If you want to think about what an average percentage of fraud would be, even if you used on a low end 1%, that'd be $4 million a year potentially that could be going through the system. So receivables to me may not be indicative of what could really be happening in the billing.
So it could be a higher number?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So to me, it's error or fraud. I believe the vast majority of providers, doctors and dentists are doing the best they can. But we found in this audit that they're not given good information up front, that entry into the system is basically an honor system. They can't always get answers while they're trying to get their claims processed, and the system is cumbersome. It takes 6 to 8 weeks to get a fee code changed. So once the payments get through the system, the assumption then that they were accurate. But as we know, that's not always the case. So you have, even if you've got your process claimed, it needs to be assessed. And when you're not auditing a high percentage of the claims, there's 5 million of them, for hundreds of millions of dollars a year, you're never going to detect if there's error or if there's fraud. And just error alone, and just like you said, somebody could be billing for in-person visits when it should be virtual, for example. There's a fee difference, and it happens. You'll note in the report we mentioned that there was an issue with a rule that the department had restricted almost 30 years ago. We tested it, and just for 1 year it was worth $12,000. Now, maybe those billings would get paid because they were appropriate, but unless you check it, you don't know. We got a good response from the department, have spoken with the minister, and he is aware of the issues, and we had a good conversation about the ability to implement our 6 recommendations. It will cost no money to implement those recommendations. These are about processes, existing staffing, existing systems, and my intention in 2 years is to come back to see where they sit, and in 3 years I expect 100% implementation. So I'll hold myself till then.
When members of the general public hear this information today, how should they be feeling? What should they take away from all this?
I think they should take away the need for more accountability with respect to the $388 million that flowed through MCP in the past year. That, you know, we need to make sure that the systems that are used in the healthcare, this is one small piece of a very large system. That is probably making it difficult for providers, dentists, and physicians, making it difficult for people that may be going through Workplace NL, people that are trying to get through a lot of these processes because the adult denture program, for example, they pay beneficiaries directly. So I think there is a need for improved oversight of this program and those public funds to be sure that what we pay out every year in MCP is appropriate.
Turning now to some national news, U.S. President Donald Trump now says he would prefer to deal with a liberal leader rather than a conservative one. The question is, why? Karina Roman looks at the possible reasons.
U.S. President Donald Trump told Fox News that Canada's conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, is no friend of his, and in fact, he thinks it would be easier to deal with a liberal. Fox host Laura Ingraham had suggested to Trump that the Liberals in Canada were now more likely to win a Canadian election, and asked Trump, wouldn't that mean Canada will be more hostile to the U.S.?
The Conservative that's running is stupidly no friend of mine. I don't know him, but he said negative things. So when he says negative things, I couldn't care less. I think it's easier to deal, actually, with a Liberal. And maybe they're going to win, but I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me at all.
This comes on the heels of Trump saying a couple of weeks ago that Poilievre was not a MAGA guy, even though one of Poilievre's MPs is good friends with Vice President J.D. Vance. Poilievre responded by agreeing he is not a MAGA guy, and today he agreed again with Trump's latest comments.
Yesterday, the president said that having a liberal prime minister would be easier for him to deal with, just as he threatened once again to make us the 51st state. And you know what? On that point, it's true. I'm a strong leader. I'm a tough guy to deal with. I'm firm in my convictions, and I'll always put Canada first.
For weeks, the Liberals have been saying that Poilievre likes Trump, admires Trump, that his very words echo those of Trump. The Liberals released ads showing the two side by side saying very similar things. Such a framing is a problem for the Conservatives as Canada heads into a federal election campaign soon, in which who can best stand up to Trump will be a key factor. So, if voters take Trump at his word, they are not on the same page. A more cynical voter might see this, however, as Trump trying to help Poilievre by distancing himself. Karina Roman, CBC News, Ottawa.
Well, the growing boycott of American-made goods isn't just happening in Canada. Many people in other parts of the world are also refusing to buy American and even canceling travel plans to the U.S. And it's more than tariffs fueling this trend. The CBC's Nicole Williams reports.
Here in Ottawa and across the country, the Buy Canadian movement is alive and well.
Hello, welcome.
With an ongoing trade war with the U.S. and President Donald Trump's threats to make Canada the 51st state,
we're looking for ways that we can fight back or at least defend ourselves. And I think economically, buying Canadian makes perfect sense.
But shoppers here say it's a bit more specific than that.
Anything that says made in Canada or anywhere else in the world, just try and avoid things that are made in America.
Turns out Canadians are not alone, from cutting back DEI initiatives to blaming the Ukrainian president for the war that Russia started. People around the world have their own reasons to turn their backs on the Trump administration. This world-renowned violinist canceled his American tour dates scheduled this summer.
I'm hurting myself with not being able to play those wonderful halls and orchestras and meeting all my friends in America. But I needed, for my own sake, a decision where I wouldn't feel wrong in what I'm doing.
In Sweden, this Facebook group dedicated to boycotting U.S. products has tens of thousands of members in just a few months.
I tried because I saw something and I didn't like it, and I tried. And that's how we in the group see ourselves.
This European grocery chain marking goods made on the continent with a black star to help customers at the checkout counter. But it's becoming bigger than produce. A recent report from Tourism Economics forecasts a dramatic drop in visits to the U.S. this year, meaning tourism spending could fall by $18 billion. But does all this mean much to the Trump administration? This economist isn't so sure.
If you think that it's going to actually do something, you're sorely mistaken. The U.S. economy is about $30 trillion per year, give or take.
Even still, the people I spoke to say it is the principle of the matter. As long as the Trump administration continues on the path that it's on, they say it is critical that they spend their dollar elsewhere. Nicole Williams, CBC News, Ottawa.
Well, if you have a sweet tooth for chocolate, brace yourself. Your favorite chocolate bar might get a lot more expensive. And it's not just because of tariffs. The CBC's Ethan Williams reports.
Faye Moffat is hard at work making her next batch of specialty chocolates, but the Saskatoon chocolatier is finding it much more expensive to purchase the cocoa she needs for her sweet snacks.
In 2023, it was about $3,300 a ton, and now it's up to about $10,000 to $12,000 a ton. So it's 3 to 4 times increased over the last year and a half.
It all stems from poor conditions for growing cocoa. Major cocoa-producing countries in West Africa have faced extreme temperatures, floods, and drought in recent growing seasons, ruining cocoa harvests. and conditions are only getting worse.
All of these different impacts are traced, they're more extreme and they're more frequent due to climate change, even though you can't attribute necessarily a single event due to climate change. But these have been tracked over the last 10 or 20 years, and you can see the increase in intensity and frequency.
One researcher says despite the resulting price hike on chocolate, the profits are not reaching cocoa farmers, preventing them from adapting to climate change.
They are not able to invest in their farms to regenerate their cacao trees, have more productive trees that are planted, or fight the disease and viruses that are affecting the tree.
It's not just the weather thousands of kilometers away that impacts Moffat's Saskatchewan business. Hotter summers here and hot temperatures lasting well into fall can melt her chocolate creations.
On weeks where it's, in the high 20s or 30s, we tend to not ship our chocolate unless our client really wants it. And then we will put ice packs in, but there are definitely times where we just have to slow our shipping.
And keeping all that chocolate cool with those ice packs and air conditioning is costly, adding to the already skyrocketing price of cocoa. And while she may not be able to buy her cocoa locally, Moffat says she works to buy everything else for her shop from Canada, supporting local industry while saving a few dollars. Ethan Williams, CBC News, Regina.
One Dartmouth man has a passion for shipwrecks and is on a mission to capture them, leaning on his background in surveying and diving. His 3D renderings of ships lying on the sea floor could be the last glimpse before they're gone forever. The CBC's Dave Irish explains.
The murk, the tidal currents, the darkness. The problem with shipwrecks, of course, is you gotta know how to overcome all of that to explore them. Or do you?
And all of a sudden, you're going through this gloom, and there's just like, whoa.
Michael Schwinghammer started the Nova Scotia Shipwreck Mapping Project a couple of years ago. He's the webmaster, the diver, photographer, 3D modeler, and he's driven to capture these wrecks before they're lost to time, decomposing in their watery graves, where sometimes only the bones remain.
It's your heritage, and no one's looking after it and like doing the preservation of it. And at least this is a digital preservation of it at that one point. And I just want some people to be able to go and experience it.
His passion feeds his persistence, like in the case of a ship believed to have sunk by the Halifax explosion in 1917, a copper-clad schooner in the narrows of Halifax Harbor.
Drop line goes down, and it's like that 1 in 1,000 time where like it actually goes perfect. And it's like right on this wreck. There's not much current. Visibility's pretty good. And there's just this broken down ship in front of me. And I'm like, oh, I found it.
Then comes the photogrammetry. He lays down a visual reference for measurements, then swims back and forth above the wreck, taking overlapping photos with a consumer-grade camera, just like mowing a lawn.
Came home. I don't even know if I rinsed my gear. Just immediately ran in, started processing everything, and it just flew through, and it all worked out. It's beautiful. I love that model.
Then back at home, he imports them into a computer program that looks for common points in the photos and interpolates depth.
The magic is all in the software.
Photogrammetry has allowed Schwinghammer to publish models of 12 wrecks on his website, the closest renditions he can create, even when they're not ships at all. But he says he couldn't do it without help. Archaeologists, people with underwater coordinates, or buds with boats who can take him where he needs to go.
I'm incredibly privileged. The diving community in Nova Scotia is really small. When you have passion and you sort of push for things, you sort of meet more and more people that are like-minded and that want you to go further.
He identifies the wrecks with the best information and knowledge he can get, and that includes published works of scientists. He's okay if his models aren't exact replicas. The point, he says, is to give the public access to these special places, a sense of history in decay.
And the wreck is what matters. And like, it's super difficult to do. Like, it's stupidly time consuming. You've spent a huge amount of money on gear, and there's no return for any of these things. So you're just kind of doing it because you love it.
Schwinghammer plans on deeper dives, more wrecks, more mysteries, and one in particular.
The wreck that everyone wants to find in Nova Scotia is called HMCS Esquimalt, the last Canadian warship that was sank in World War II. And it's just out in the outer harbor, but we don't know where it is. I want to find it eventually. That's going to, like, if I can use all of my, like, resources and, like, every good favor that's come to me, I will eventually be part of the finding of this wreck and one day map it, if I can.
Is that your white whale?
Oh, there's probably, yeah.
David Irish, CBC News, Halifax.
Was pretty neat. A lot of passion there.
Yeah.
So how are you doing, Ashley? With the, had some technical troubles earlier with the forecast, but you've been hard at work over there figuring it out. It's all okay now?
Yeah, I got it back, which is good. So let's actually look at the real forecast for tomorrow. Temperatures will be much warmer than they were today, back up into the single digits. Now along the south coast and areas in the east, We'll likely see those daytime highs a little on the cool side just because we'll be an onshore flow. But areas through central, the west coast, beautiful spring-like day. Well, spring day officially tomorrow, but between 9 and 10 degrees. Northern Peninsula, you'll be a tad cooler, only between 2 and 3 degrees is your daytime highs. Now, Labrador, overall, generally in the single digits, with the exception of the north coast, where you'll hover around 0 or even a little bit below through the day. Now, as we look ahead to Friday already, we're looking at that much warmer air moving in. We'll return to more of a southerly flow. It's also going to bring the chance of a few showers. Nothing soaking. You may see some periods of showers towards the end of the day, but most of the afternoon should in fact just be just cloudy with the chance of a few scattered showers here and there. We'll see that through central areas of the Big Land as well, the Upper Lake Melville area, and then east to the southeast. But overall, again, daytime highs will be back up into the double digits, even reaching the teens through central, northern peninsula and southeastern portions of Labrador between 7 and about 9 degrees through the day, and then hovering near or just below 0 for the north and the west again through the afternoon. Likely going to see more of a wintry mix for the north coast through the early Saturday time frame. We'll likely see some more flurries in the forecast, or some light snow through the Upper Lake Melville area, potentially even some freezing rain for southeastern Labrador. But other than that, this is going to be another rainy day for the most part. We may see a little bit of afternoon sunshine or at least afternoon dry for parts of the island. But overall, it will be another mild day with temperatures back into the double digits again, between 11 to 14 degrees. Labrador back down below 0. After that, Saturday, we should clear out as we head into the afternoon, 8 degrees, but dropping again by the time we get into Monday. We're looking at a similar drop in temperatures for central and western Newfoundland, back down to the minus single digits. And then for Labrador, you will say goodbye to the plus temperatures for a little while anyway, back down to minus single digits, and then minus double digits for Sunday for western Labrador. Our weather photo today is taken in St. John's. I had to share this.
Yes.
What a bright spot.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes. Mine are starting to come up now, and the snow has melted away, and I see them poking their little heads out of the ground, and it's so nice to see.
It sure is, yeah. A definite sign of spring there. Thank you to Kevin for that. If you have any weather pictures that you would like to share with us, we'd love to see them. And the best place to do that is to send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Yeah, particularly any more signs of spring. I would love to see that. Just love those crocuses. So anything you have, share it with us. Thanks so much for watching.
Good night.